Welcome, my beautiful woman, to Lingerie and Lattes, which is my take on relationships and what intimacy can really be if a woman and a man understand how to interact with each other. I'm Olivia Trumaga. I founded Vulcanability back in April 2020, and it's meant as an alchemical process for people to transmute their sexual trauma into a healing aid in themselves. When we show up to a relationship embodied, it leaves us feeling extremely connected to the person and to the future that we are building. When we come up to the relationships as patterns that we've noticed from our parents, from our influences like movies or suggestions coming from friends, things that you've simply picked up on and haven't noticed as the standard for relationships. I've noticed that a lot of the time we want to temper something. And temper is a very interesting word. I had to have it defined throughout one of my shadow work sessions. And what it means is essentially to think of a liquid mixture on a stovetop. If it's super hot and you want it to cool down, you might slowly start adding some cool temperature, or yes, you would slowly start adding some cool temperature, obviously turning the flame off, and then slowly adding. So temper essentially means to slowly bring in something in a situation to bring the situation to a level that's comfortable or whatever you have figured it out to be. Women do not spend enough time relaxing, focusing on, I would say, outward beauty, but from a holistic perspective. The mystique of a woman is her graciousness, is her ability to sort of make everything feel like it comes with ease. Even though maybe we behind the curtains we know that we are busting our chops to make the house look beautiful, have everything clean and prepared before the time, and all of those regular positions that women take in a household and within a relationship. But to think of the mystique that comes with being a woman, that has to do with how it's perceived. When we embody our feminine, we are more fluid, we are more in the water element. And when we can dive deep into the subconscious, that's when the natural grace comes out. That is when we are understanding what it means to be this instead of anything else, this meaning being a woman, we can start to nourish the goddess, which gets me into the subject I wanted to share for today, which is all about giving ourselves exactly as we imagine an Egyptian queen would be treated, let's say weekly or daily, thinking of maybe drawing a bath for yourself. Obviously, they didn't take that many baths back then, but we have the access now. Taking a bath and drawing in some flowers maybe into your home to bring in that sense of fresh, bright nature back into the home. Anointing yourself with an oil, with an intention, and slowly, really slowly, like spending time as you putting on the oil to massage this area of your body. And perhaps you can even bring in intentions, how thankful you are for this flesh, for this physical form. When we start to really pamper our physical self, our vessel, there's a different glow that women get. And this is so accurate. I know you know what I'm talking about. I mean, think of the days that you come out of your manicure and pedicure and you've just had your facial, you've just maybe steamed or sat in a sauna for X amount of time, you've had the works done, maybe you had a massage as well. I mean, you walk out feeling regal. That is the element of the goddess that we want to embody in ourselves because that magnetizes. Think of yourself in a form that you would have, maybe you would tend to this person. Don't think of yourself, maybe sometimes it's difficult for us to really nourish ourselves in this extravagant way. So maybe it's easier for yourself to envision, how would I, um, let's say I was the servant of blah, 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 like this queen, Nefertiti. How would she desire to be treated in her utmost best day or self, right? With our modern technology. I mean, that's a great question to ask ourselves because if we start to understand how to embrace the mystique that comes with being a woman, showing that everything comes with ease, even though we know that we are working for it very intensely, knowing that the notes that I have there, knowing that we have this mystique allows us to get back into the body. If we think about ourselves always operating in the masculine and having a large amount of drive, energy, action, force all the time, that exhausts us, that burns us out. And when we do these things, when we remind ourselves of what a woman actually brings to the table, why it's valuable to be in your feminine instead of your masculine, why we should nourish, embrace that, and also grow it. If a woman walks in to a building that's full of men, the heads will turn. It doesn't always happen that way when there's a mixed room. Everyone's just kind of caught up in their way. And I've started to realize that it has to do with how women and men think differently. And I was thinking about this, I believe yesterday I was speaking about it with my office because I work with only men. And if we want to learn how to have interactions with our partners, with our brothers, with our dads, with our any male, honestly, we have to start understanding how they think. And if they're thinking very linearly, one topic after another, there's just one focus all the time. And we can validate this because anytime a man is speaking and a woman interrupts, he loses his train of thought. Why does that happen? Well, they can only really focus on one thing. So if they're talking about a story, they have a point in mind. They're focusing on that point. When you start talking, that distracts them. That throws them off the one linear path, like this tightrope that they're walking all the time, men. They're just walking this tightrope, and then when we come in, we knock them off. Okay. So women don't think that way. We weave. We are like a web. And one subject can connect to another within a conversation that connects to another. And we could really be on multiple subjects at the same time within one conversation. And we'll follow along. We know exactly what everyone's talking about. So when a woman walks into a mixed room of men and women in a building, everyone's kind of doing their own thing. It's their own little bubble. But when a woman walks into a room full of men, they turn. So why is that? Because their energy is only focused on the one task. So when something comes in, that's a distraction. Their energy is now pulled away from the thing that they were just doing. When we nourish ourselves in a kind of over the top way, honestly, that's the best description I can have. Being super luxurious with yourself and your body is the best thing you can do as a woman because we are meant to be slowing down, and it is nearly impossible in our day and age with our demands of life that we've imposed upon ourselves. The more that we start to notice how the body can be a representation of our feminine power, and I know that's such an overused line, a feminine power, the word phrase, but when we can tap into the womb and really be connected with the entire self, we come about life in such a way that the universe can only deliver because we're being gracious. We are women. We naturally embody receptivity. That's why when we open ourselves up and notice that we are the chalice, like we are the cup, the symbol, because we have a bowl, it's literally our womb space, our pelvic bowl. When we notice that, we can stop struggling so much, and we can stop trying to figure out how to interact with men and have a relationship, and instead we can simply bedazzle them and just be greatest in our greatest embodiment of the self, which is the feminine. Thank you so much, my beautiful ladies. And on that note, have a magical, wonderful Friday. And I will chat with you all on Monday for our Yoni Medi exercises.